If elected president, Kamala Harris's likely foreign and defense policies would tragically be as bad or even worse than those of Joe Biden. This makes a major war more likely. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The free world is in its most precarious position since World War II. The situation resembles the 1930s, when a series of mistakes led to that catastrophic global conflict. Alas, Kamala Harris shows no signs she grasps how bad things are, or that she has the capacity to bring in new personnel to make urgent changes to meet these increasingly dangerous challenges. Unfortunately, the U.S. has blundered so badly that we see two serious wars that could easily escalate into ominously wider conflicts. We have China relentlessly moving to dominate the critical South China Sea, not to mention its unrelenting military buildup, its preparations for all kinds of cyber warfare, and its aggressive and effective outreach to countries everywhere. Yet the Obama administration, and now the Biden one, operated on the false and fatal assumption that aggression could be appeased and muted, that at heart, Russia, China, and Iran really wanted to be cooperative and constructive members of the international community, and would do so if we were really nice to them. Indeed, it sometimes seemed these U.S. policymakers thought foreign and military matters were an annoyance, a distraction from their modern socialist domestic agenda. They focused on disastrously expensive and ultimately destructive climate change initiatives, while China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea focused on changing the global climate militarily, economically, and politically to their advantage. Future generations will shake their heads at our fundamental fecklessness. The Biden crowd has been shockingly slow in responding to changed real-world circumstances. Biden and his cohorts still allow Iran to sell billions of dollars worth of oil to China. They still try to stop Israel from eliminating Hamas and giving it what it needs to deal with a likely war with Hezbollah in the north. Immorally and murderously, they still refuse to provide Ukraine what it needs to push back Putin's invaders. Most fundamentally, they won't acknowledge how precarious the situation is. When World War II was coming to a close in 1945, Harry Truman became president with the death of Franklin Roosevelt. He seemed ill-prepared for the immense, unprecedented problems he faced. Yet he and others recognized that the U.S. had to make drastic changes in how it approached the world. He and figures like George Marshall, George Kennan, Paul Nitze, James Forrestal, and Republican Senator Arthur Vandenberg helped create the policies and the institutions, such as the Marshall Plan and NATO, that met the challenge of the Soviet Union and, decades hence, would win the Cold War. Could Kamala Harris become another Harry Truman? She gives no signs of it. She doesn't appear capable of getting people like those who work with Truman to rise to an increasingly ominous occasion. In fact, she could be worse than Biden. For instance, she dissed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu when he was here, making it clear she wanted a flawed ceasefire in Gaza. Our security, and that of the free world, deserves to be a top campaign issue. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions, and I look forward to being with you soon again.